Please welcome to the stage Chief Marketing and Communications Officer, LinkedIn, Mel Selcher.
All right, welcome. I'm Mel Selcher. I'm the Chief Marketing and Communications Officer at LinkedIn, and I am thrilled to be welcoming you here today. If you're like me, I can still count on less than 2 hands the number of work events I've been to post-pandemic, and it still feels really special to get to have this time together in a way that it didn't before it was taken away. And so I welcome all of you with incredible gratitude. Those of you who are joining us in person, and then those of you who are joining us virtually at your home, at your office, in your kitchen, maybe all of those things are the same thing. And today it's really about coming together and doing something. And you have chosen to spend your time with us, and we take that very seriously. And so in return, I believe that you are going to be energized and inspired today. I believe that you are going to learn, I believe we're going to have fun, and I believe you're going to get to meet Ben Stiller. So today I want to talk to you about why now is such an exciting time to be a B2B marketer. I want to ground ourselves in the growth potential of the B2B economy, and I want to start to plan about how we're going to take and capture that growth. I know that it is a complicated time to be a marketer right now. I, like you, am managing teams of marketers through the uncertainty and through the volatility. But this conversation today transcends any moment and any business cycle. And actually, I would argue that the conversation we're having today is more important than it's ever been. Because right now, our companies need us more than ever to drive the next wave of growth and find the next opportunity. And so the conversation today centers on our belief, B2Believe, you see it, that with the right tools, the right canvases, and the right promises, B2B marketing is poised to be one of the most exciting growth stories of the era. And I think you are all here because you're seeing something. I think it's the same thing that Cannes Lions saw when they introduced the first B2B category, that B2B is having a renaissance, that we are finding ourselves, that we're just as sexy as B2C, and now's our chance to show that to the world. So you're going to hear from my colleagues about the canvases and the tools shortly. I want to talk to you about promises. And to do that, I want to tell a story from a long time ago about a B2B marketer who went on to change the world. So let's go way back in time. It's 1773. The setting is the coal mining counties of England. And our hero, young, ambitious engineer James Watt, has just made an important invention to a big problem, but he has another big problem. So James Watt has developed a new steam-powered engine that's going to make the mines safer and run better. And this steam engine is amazing. It drains the floodwater from the mines much faster than the horses that the miners currently use. And in so doing, it makes the conditions much more tolerable. They're terrible working conditions. And it saves lives of the people who are working underground. But when James goes to pitch his idea to the miners, they don't understand it. They can't picture it, they're scared of it, they don't trust it, and they opt to stick with the horses. James Watt has a marketing problem. So James Watt makes a second amazing invention, and he invents the idea of horsepower. Now, of course, there aren't horses inside his steam engine, but by talking about horsepower, James Watt helps the miners understand the promise of his steam engine. It can do the work of 10 horses, and they're willing to give it a try. So James Watt understands something that I think B2B marketers are still trying to understand even today. That great technology has to make a promise that's easy to understand and relatable before people will buy into it. Horsepower was a concept so big and so easy that it gave birth to the Industrial Revolution and powered a century of change. And then there's something else amazing, and I wouldn't have known this if my husband didn't just buy himself a midlife crisis gift of a huge Dodge Ram truck. And yes, he really did. Even though the steam engine, the railways, the steamships that James Watt made possible have all been replaced by modern machines, The promise of horsepower is still a big part of how Dodge Ram sells its trucks. That simple promise has lasted over 250 years. So just like James Watt, the great marketers who built the products that we know today knew that a great product is not enough. Great products need great promises. I think you're all probably familiar with this iconic ad, but did you know that the MP3 player had been available for a decade before the iPod came to market? Technology wasn't new, but the promise of 1,000 songs in your pocket was a promise that everyone could understand. And there are great examples of B2B promises that have been made. When Google's CEO Eric Schmidt announced distributed computing technology back in 2006, it was an incredibly complex technical achievement, and you kind of needed a PhD and an Advil to understand it. But by calling it the cloud, he helped everyone picture the promise straight away. People could stop attaching to where their server was and started getting excited about the promise and the imagination of cloud computing, cloud access, cloud storage. So here's the challenge. There aren't enough great B2B promises yet. We've all been taught, myself included, to be a lot more comfortable talking about product features than about product promises. When we go choose a chocolate bar, we're at Wawa for you East Coasters or 7-Eleven, and we're presented with 5 or 10 chocolate bars. We don't choose our chocolate bar based on features, but we think that B2B buyers do. Coke doesn't market itself as sweet, brown, and fizzy, but if B2B Coke were a B2B product, I have a funny feeling that that's how it would show up in my feed. So let me ask you something. If James Watt had promoted his steam engine based on its features, do you think the miners would have gone for the 33,000 foot-pounds of force per minute machine and taken a chance on something new? Products alone do not build emotional connections. Promises do. Products don't speak directly to customers. Promises do. And products don't build lasting customer relationships, but really great promises do. So now some of you might be sitting in the room asking, Mel, what's the difference between a brand and a promise? And it's a really great question. And I posit that the brand isn't something that marketing owns or controls. At our company, I defined our brand as every touch point someone has with our product and with our experience. And every one of our teams and every employee owns some part of our brand. Our promise then is a very specific thing. It summarizes and communicates the value of our brand to our audiences. It needs to be memorable, it's valuable, and it's deliverable. And because of those things, and this is really important, your customer can use it to understand your motivations. That's how you build trust and to hold you to account. The promise of the brand then becomes the thing that everyone can wrap their head around at your company, and everyone is on the same hook to deliver. From the CEO down to your customer service representative, the product team knows what promise their product needs to deliver against. The sales team knows what promises they can make when they're in the room. And as we marketers, we know our job is to tell the world about our promise through every touch point and experience we create. At LinkedIn, our promise is to create economic opportunity for every member of the global workforce. As the CMCO, my job is very clear: to make sure that our brand delivers on that promise in every experience we create and every story we tell. And every team at LinkedIn will tell you that their job is to deliver on that promise as well. It's why we show up, it's how we show up, and it's what we show up to do. The biggest brands of the last centuries have one thing in common. They made great promises that B2C customers understood. But here's the thing. Those promises were made 20, 30, even 50 years ago, and those brands are already big. For marketers who want a career that's transformational, our challenge is of how do we build those next generation of iconic brands. And while the brands of the last century were all consumer brands, when we look at the next generation of economic value and where that value creation is coming from, we see a future that is B2B. There's a whole generation of new companies at the intersection of cloud computing, big data, machine learning, engineering. Those companies don't sell the French fries or the chocolate that we love to indulge in, but quietly in the background, they're rewiring how we work and we live. Pretty soon you're gonna get a chance, you take ServiceNow, pretty soon you're gonna have a chance to meet Michael Park, who's the CMO, a bit later today. And many of you might know ServiceNow. Their product takes away a lot of the drudge work of our professional lives. But what you might not know is that ServiceNow has a market cap that's larger than Ford and Mitsubishi combined. And ServiceNow is one of a set of B2B businesses that are leading new and emerging categories. Categories that they play in are cloud, fintech, hardware, process automation. But what you might not know is that even in a market where tech stocks have been hit really hard, these 4 B2B businesses still have a market cap greater than Nike, Coke, Adidas, and General Motors combined. For marketers, these new B2B categories are where the economic growth is going to come from. These businesses are growing fast, they're hiring the most in-demand talent, and they're reinventing our world. Out of the 10 most successful IPOs last year, all but one was a pure B2B play. These companies are still learning how to make the right promises to the right customers, but as they do, they're delivering growth and results. So I'm not saying that B2B brand building is as easy as B2C. For one thing, it's harder to reach the buyers and those who influence them because traditional media channels don't reach them as efficiently. And secondly, we don't understand the buyers of a CRM system or a workflow process automation tool in the same way that we understand someone who buys a car or buys shampoo. But that's changing. If you just look at our platform, for example, you can reach all the buyers in a category. You can understand their intent, and you can build relationships with them over time. And the power of creativity in B2B is just beginning to be unleashed. Earlier this year, the first ever Cannes Lion B2B Grand Prix was awarded, along with 3 B2B Gold Lions in B2B, and many, many more B2B Silver Lions. This level of recognition has just begun, and I'm gonna guess that the next winner might be sitting in this room. You all made the choice to be here, and I think it's a good one. As you can tell, we think there's a huge opportunity for the marketers in this room to create economic value in B2B. B2B sales add up to over $9 trillion a year, and the biggest B2B categories are already bigger than the biggest historic CPG categories, and they're growing faster. And now is the time that our customers are looking to us to capture the opportunity and drive growth in ways that we haven't before. So these numbers are powerful, but this conference isn't called B to the numbers. It is called B2Believe. We could have called it B to better, B to bigger, B to badass, but we didn't. And we didn't call it B to bottom of the funnel, or B to ROI, or B to minimizing your cost per lead. We called it B2B, B2Believe. And that's because of what we all have the power to do. We all have the power to make promises that customers believe in, that put them in the center, and that cause them to care. And I believe that collectively, the people in this room will create economic value, will create new opportunity, will create new jobs, and do some of the best and most important work of your careers. I believe it. In fact, I B2Believe it. And that's the hot promise I hope that all of us will take forward. Thank you very much.